Good afternoon again. Here's another video in our series about tips and tricks for MA students in liberal studies at the CUNY Graduate Center. Hi, I'm Professor Elizabeth McCauley. I'm the Executive Officer of the MA program in Liberal Studies, or the MALS program. And today I'd like to talk to you about crafting a proposal for individualized studies, which is our largest concentration in the entire program. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see our website, which is, of course, the great source for all information for what's happening in the program and how to basically apply for individualized studies. Okay, so individualized studies is basically the opportunity to create an individualized concentration that draws upon multiple different MALS tracks to kind of curate a degree that really reflects your intellectual and academic interests and pursuits, your research agenda, and the work that you want to pursue. Within this, it's very, very flexible. Even if our general program is flexible, it's even more flexible. So what you have to do is, first of all, you can apply for individualized studies only once you have been accepted into the MA program in liberal studies. You can't apply before you come as a student. But we are very embracing of students when they get here and support them through this process of applying, which is very straightforward and does not have large numbers of requirements. Okay, so what the first thing is, you have to, of course, take MALS 70,000 like everybody else. But what you do for individualized studies is that you select two core courses from two different MALS concentrations that will serve as the core courses of your proposed concentration. So this, for example, could be Global Early Modern Studies and the Archaeology of the Classical, Late Antique Islamic Worlds. It could be Fashion Studies and Film and Media Cultures. There are multiple different ways, because what we acknowledge in the program here is that, academics, research, intellectual pursuits are constantly evolving, and students have a kind of the pulse on what they want to do, and that they want to combine and think through different ways of creating, tailoring, and curating their master's education. Okay, so within that, you can pick two core courses from the MALS core courses. You cannot pick a course from another program. You can't pick a history course. You can't pick an anthro course. You can't pick a comparative literature or an English class. It has to be a MALS core course, and that is not open for negotiation. After that, you can then pick your 18 credits worth of electives from across the whole graduate center, and then you finish with your thesis or capstone. Okay, before we talk about deadlines, it's a very simple form that you want to put together, and you'll submit to the assistant program officer. So we have instructions for individualized studies, which you can find right here, which basically explains all of this. And then we also have a request form for individualized studies. So let's take a look at that form together. So it's a fillable form. So you need to put your name, your employee ID, when you enrolled in MALS, and then you need to talk about your proposed concentration. So first of all, it needs a name. Please give it a name, not American Studies and Africana Studies. Create a name that is more reflective of the work you are actually going to do. So it should have a name and a title. Then you need your two proposed core courses, which you may have taken or may yet to take. And then you can list all of the electives that you're thinking about taking. And these are courses that should have been offered in the last 2 years. And then what you need to do is write a 1 to 2 page proposal. That's 300 to 600 words, and attach it. And that basically is the kind of rationale for what you're doing. So if you're combining fashion studies and child and youth studies, it's a way that you can bring your ideas together and articulate them, because you're going to need to do those articulations when you're writing your prospectus for your capstone or your thesis. So it's a great thing to do now and explain why the existing structures don't work for the academic and intellectual work you want to do. Then you need to have a consulting faculty member. So one of the questions that comes up is, how do I find a faculty member? Well, it's not as onerous as finding a thesis or a capstone advisor, but generally students look to faculty members with whom they've taken classes to supervise them. This is not a very heavy lift for the faculty. It doesn't take that much time. It's really just touching base with the faculty member to make sure that you're going in the right direction. You have ideas that the Graduate Center has coursework and resources that will support that type of work well. So usually you just write an email to a faculty member that you really like and that you think can supervise the work. If you can't find a faculty member or you're having some troubles, please feel free free to reach out to the department or to your advising fellow to talk about some alternative strategies. But it's pretty straightforward. And so then you basically submit this proposal to the department. The proposal is submitted, there are 2 times a year. So here you can see the deadlines, March 15th and November 15th by 5 p.m. They've got to be emailed in. But there is no time limit in the sense of when you have to do this. We understand that our students go through the program exploring, creating, thinking things through. So you can apply for individualized studies up until your last semester before you graduate. Can't do it after you graduate, but we can do it up until that point. And so it's very common to have students take time and not do it in their first 2 semesters. So you don't have to feel pressured if this is something you're thinking about, but you really want to go through and explore some of the classes first. There's always flexibility in that. The last thing I would say is sometimes I get asked the question, what happens if I submit my proposal and it's not approved by the department? And the answer is we work with students to refine their proposals. So for example, if we get a proposal where the proposed concentration name is, is, for example, literary translation in New York studies, and that's the title name, I'll say, okay, come back to that. Is it like literary movements or translation movements in New York, things like that? So it's a more precise title. If, for example, the core courses that are proposed include a core course that is not a MALS core course, I would send that back to the student and ask for revisions. So we work very closely with students to revise and refine their proposals if it just needs a little bit of tweaking. As you can see, this is our largest concentration. And so we really support students to go through putting together a proposal, submitting it. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out to myself, the DEO, or the advising fellows or our APO to get additional information. But I hope that was really helpful. And if you're interested in individualized studies, I hope that this will encourage you to apply and go from there. Thank you so much for all of your time, and have a good afternoon. I hope this video was helpful. Bye.